Hello and welcome. I'm Jenny Hall. Thanks for joining me for another card making tutorial. Today I have an autumn styled wreath with a fun little squirrel. I'm stamping with Falling for Leaves as well as Foxy Friends stamp set. My color combo for the wreath is Merry Merlot, Cajun Craze, and Old Olive. And then I'll add some accents with Sahara Sand and Soft Suede. The Fox Builder Punch will help me create a little squirrel. I know it says Fox Builder, but that's okay. I'm using the Stamparatus for my stamping today because I'm going to use multiple layers of color. I've started with tone on tone and stamped Sahara Sand ink onto Sahara Sand cardstock. This is going to give me a base color to start with and kind of give a little bit more depth. And now with the soft suede and a sponge dauber, I'm adding some shadows around the edges of the stamped images. There's a little face in the Foxy Friends stamp set, and I'm going to use the one that would look the most like a squirrel. I just like the idea of a squirrel, although a fox would be really cute instead of a squirrel in this particular project. The way that the punch is built, I stamped all of the images with enough room in between and in the direction that they would slide into the punch. That makes things a little easier. I'm using that sponge dauber and adding a little bit more of the shadows around the edges, and now a white chalk marker to add some highlights around one side of the tail. Liquid glue is enough to hold these few pieces together, and it's a cute little squirrel. It doesn't have to be perfect, and any of the areas that I didn't get right with the actual stamping were helped by using the sponge dauber. I'm using a pencil here and a pre-cut circle to give myself a guide on where to place the stamped images. The color combination is going to be really nice for giving a different variety of leaf colors. I'm not sure if yellow would add very well into this, and so with these rich autumn colors I've chosen to stamp everything onto a piece of Crumb Cake cardstock. A lot of the different images from Falling for Leaves are just perfect to create this kind of a result. Now I'm going to add some of the stamped images from Foxy Friends, and I like the idea of adding some mushrooms to this. Mushrooms to me are a very fall type of thing to expect. In fact, as my young son Nathaniel and I have been going on walks in the mornings, we're finding more and more mushrooms, particularly growing on trees. So I think the mushrooms are really appropriate. This panel will be attached down directly to a white card base, and I'm going to glue the squirrel in place with some more liquid glue. To give some highlights and, kind of go along with that autumn feel, I'm adding a few of the gold faceted dots. And now I'll stamp the sentiment in the same soft suede ink on a scrap of Whisper White paper. I want to place it to where it looks like he's holding the sentiment with one of his hands. Although the hand does not come away from the card, it shows, and so that way it's still kind of representative of him holding on to it. Now I'm adding some more tone on tone images with some more of the mushrooms that are in the Foxy Friends stamp set. And in order to fill in some of that stamped wreath area, I'm using the watercolor pencils to not give a heavy color, but just enough to where the leaves don't seem like they're open images. There's a few different colors in the watercolor pack that will help me to give that kind of look. I'm also using the white pencil to give a highlight on some of the images like the mushrooms. Watercolor pencils don't necessarily have to be used with watercoloring. They work well on their own, and this is a perfect example of how they can be in my craft supplies and be used for much more than just watercoloring. This can also be translated out into a Christmas looking wreath. When I was stamping it, I really got the feel of this could possibly easily turn into a Christmas card. So maybe I'll use this design for some kind of a Christmas card. That would be interesting. The inside is finished off with one stamped leaf, and we are finished with this project. All of the measurements and the supply list is located in the video description down below here on YouTube. There's also more information over on my blog at jennyhalldesign.com. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks for watching the video. See you next time.